What is up, guys? It is Joe. We are back. We're talking ball about the Cats today, and in today's video, I have another one of the continued series of the 5 questions, 5 predictions, 5 comments, whatever the case is, mostly because I can't count higher than 5. It gets tricky when you add your second hand in and you start to get to multiple digits beyond just 5. But today we are doing 5 bold predictions for the upcoming season. Some are less bold than others, but most of all are things that I think are stretch goals for the upcoming year. But things that are also attainable, and I feel confident in saying. So that's what's going to be the topic on today's video. But before I do get into my 5 bold predictions, let me give you this heads up. At 3,000 subs, friends, in case you missed it in the last video, I'm going to be getting the cat script tattooed on my left thigh. In the past, what we've done, I've ended up doing giveaways, done some subscriber things here and there. At 3,000 subs, I'm going to get the tattoo on the left thigh, and I'm excited about that. So if you're interested in seeing that get done, be sure and hit that subscribe button. And for those of you wondering, I'm a man of my word. I'm locked in on this. It will be happening at 3,000 subs. I'll get this thing scheduled out, and we'll get it taken care of together. It also would help if you're interested in seeing some more K-State videos through the offseason. I'm making videos every other day trying to get us closer to August, and if that's something you're interested in sticking around for, as well as helping me get that tattoo, be sure and hit that subscribe button. It does help me out immensely, and I will love you forever. I already do, but just in case you need a little more love, there you go. But let's start with my first bold prediction for the upcoming season. Now, these aren't necessarily in an order of least bold to most bold. Maybe I should have ordered that differently, but I didn't. So we're just going to roll with the first 5 things that came to mind. In no particular order, my first prediction that came to mind, the first thing that I thought of in this case, Doug McDaniel, the Michigan transfer, will lead the Big 12 in assists. Now, is this something that's crazy out there and unattainable? No, not at all. Doug McDaniel last season at Michigan averaged 4.7 assists per game, and that would have been just outside the top 10 in terms of assists per game last season. I have my stats pulled up over here to the right. So the top 5 assist passers, assist dishers, I should say, in the league, Ray J. Dennis was 6.7, DeJuan Harris was 6.5, Jamal Shedd was 6.3, Dallin Hall at 5.1, and then Taman Lipsey at 4.9. Just outside of the top 5, you had Milos Uzan at 4.4 and Tyler Perry at 4.4. Doug McDaniel's 4.7 would have put him in 6th last season. Now, there is an element of this that should be talked about. Doug McDaniel's teammates last year, and I don't mean to throw anybody under the bus because it's always a situation where sometimes it works out better, sometimes it doesn't. Doug was kind of the engine that made Michigan run last year, and Michigan wasn't a great team. They didn't have great coaching. They lost their coach midseason as well. There's just a lot of things, going on different cylinders. That does not change my position on Doug McDaniel. Some people are like, well, can you really trust a guy who only won 4 games last year to lead your team and be a winning contributor? First of all, dumb take for everybody that doesn't agree with that, but I think the biggest thing is Doug's competitive fire. I mean, the staff doesn't identify guys they don't think can be those type of leaders and those type of dudes. And Doug McDaniel, when we talked to him on the channel, shout out that interview with Doug McDaniel. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it here somewhere if I remember. If not, it is on the channel, so shout out Doug for taking some time. He talked about, hey, I want to be a facilitator. I don't necessarily want to be the guy that has to go score 30 every single game, although he can do that. If you need him to, he can. But Doug's going to have so much talent around him. The most talent he's had around him in his career. He's going to have a squad that features multiple guys that can go get theirs on their own. The dude is making the bed. The others are just bringing it home. That's the type of situation we're in with K-State. And I truly do think Doug McDaniel steps in and is one of the top 2, top 3 assist leaders in the Big 12 Conference. And I do see him leading the league in assists. In case you're also wondering, one step further is 7.7 was the nation's lead in terms of assists. Marquise Noel led the league a couple years back. I would like to see my guy, Doug McDaniel, follow that up and do the same thing. He doesn't have to average 10 assists a game or anything crazy like that, but he definitely will be in that conversation, and I would pick Doug, as of right now, to lead the league in assists. Now, my second bold prediction for the upcoming season, this is the one that I'm kind of, it's a cop-out answer a little bit because it's not necessarily a bold prediction. It's pretty open-ended. But my prediction for the upcoming season, Samford transfer Ochoa is going to shock everybody. Now, the beautiful part about the transfer portal, we don't know what these guys are capable of officially until they've made the jump, they've transferred to K-State, they've done their thing against Big 12 competition. Some of these guys like Doug McDaniel and Coleman Hawkins have done it in the Big 10. You've had certain guys that have done it in different leagues, but there is a jump up in league. We saw that struggle a little bit with Tyler Perry last year until he got his feet under him, and then he hit the ground running down the stretch. But with Ochoa, I think there's almost been people undervaluing his addition. He is a superstar basketball player, and you are going to see that this year. I think a lot of people are really high. Obviously, everybody's high on Coleman Hawkins. Everybody's high on Doug McDaniel. I think Ochoa is going to be potentially the toughest dude to match up with pound for pound on K-State's basketball. He is an elite big man that can space the court. It doesn't really matter what you ask of him. The dude is going to stand out in any role you give him. I just want to put that out there right now. Achor is going to be my dog for the upcoming season, but I legitimately think he will be one of the toughest dudes to guard court to court in the Big 12 Conference. He's an elite guy in transition. He can shoot in transition. He can spread the court. He's not necessarily a guy where you can just toss some unathletic white guy at the 4 out there and be like, all right, you go follow him. We'll deal with Coleman Hawkins and Doug McDaniel. We'll figure out the rest. Also, the fact that you have his true 7-footer and Ugonna Onyenso down low. That is not the way this is going to work out. Achor is going to expose some people. There's going to be some defensive-minded guys that are struggling to keep up with those dudes, and I look for Achor to have a massive season. So that is my number 2 bold prediction. Achor is going to surprise a lot of people in the upcoming season. Number 3 is probably, the bold degreeness is probably a question, but I think K-State in the upcoming season, my bold prediction is that we will field at least one All-American. Now, your brain would probably go to one of 2 people, and that would probably be Coleman Hawkins, or it'd probably be Doug McDaniel. There's a chance to say it'd be Achor, or there's a chance it'd be Ugonna Onyenso. It could be any of these guys in the starting lineup. CJ Jones could be a stud, Brendan Hazen. There's a bunch of people that could be in that category. The dudes that have proven it and shown it already, you've already seen it out of Coleman Hawkins, who can definitely be that guy. He had some injury issues last season, but elite two-way player, can be one of the best players in the Big 12 and a legit Big 12 Player of the Year guy. And Doug McDaniel, who truly is the engine that's going to spark this team. If Doug goes, the team goes. There's a lot of talent around him, but with that guy there, he's going to be the maestro, similar to what you saw with Marquise Noel. But I think this team could feature an All-American. Will it be Ugonna Onyenso being one of the best defensive players in the country and then taking a big step forward on the offensive end? That's a possibility. I would assume right now, as it sits, every single person is going to circle Coleman Hawkins on their thing. Hey, we're not letting Coleman Hawkins beat us. That is going to clear up such an alley for an Achor or Doug McDaniel to step in there. Anybody at the 2 is going to step out and score. I think Ugonna Onyenso is going to surprise some people as well, but I truly believe K-State will have at least one All-American this upcoming season, and that's not a foregone conclusion. Like, that's not an easy thing to predict. I'm not going to sit here and say it's just like, oh, if this guy averages 15 and 8, we're there. Like, that's not the case. Arthur Kaluma averaged 14 and 8 and didn't crack third team all Big 12. So it's not a situation where it's just a get the stats numbers there, you're there. It is an impact thing. It's a national impact thing. And you saw it the year with Keontae Johnson, Marquise Noel. Both those guys were some of the best players in the entire country. They were third team All-American. K-State can field another All-American in the upcoming season, and I'm excited to make that claim now. The next prediction, this is one that other people have had. I might even be jacking it from the good chef, Andre Napier. Shout out my guys over at Cocaine Willie if I am. He's gotten into my ear a little bit about how good the defensive effort is going to be from this team, how good the overall defense is going to be. And I got to tell you, I'm right there with him. I think K-State's defense is going to be top 5 in the entire nation next year. As a unit, as a whole, this team's defense is going to be insane. Like, think about this. If you can lock things down on the perimeter, that's the one question that you see as of right now. Doug McDaniel's a little bit undersized. He's going to be challenged on the defensive end a couple of times, but as he said in the interview, he's like, I want to be a complete player. I want to show my defensive effort. I want to show how much I can affect the basketball game on both sides of the floor. I don't want it just to be, if the ball's not in my hands, I don't have an impact. That's not the way it's going to be. The other question that some, basketball heads have talked about is, will Coleman Hawkins be able to guard the 3? Stop worrying about this, guys. Coleman Hawkins will be just fine. I'll tell you that right now. Toss him on an island for all I care. The dude is going to be just fine defending 3s. Last season struggled a bit, had to deal with some knee injuries, had to deal with some lingering stuff. Coleman Hawkins is every bit of the defender that you think he is. The kid is going to be a stud offensively, defensively. He's one of the best two-way players in the country. Achor will be damn good at the 4. At the 5, Ugonna Onyenso. And just to cap it all off, the first guy off the bench defensively is David Gasson, who is going to be potentially the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year this year. That's the type of dude you have coming off the bench. It's not okay, thank goodness, they got the starters out. We got another guy coming in. We can finally score. You say, all right, here's a dude that might be the best defender out of both teams on the court at any given moment. So I would like K-State's defense to be lights out in the upcoming season, earning that top 5 moniker as they continue through the season. And my number one thought, folks, this is one I had since the day he committed to K-State. It has been there screaming at all of us. And I tell you what, I hope you feel it too. Kansas State center, Ugonna Onyenso, Big U, Ugo, anyone you want to call him, the dude is a dog, and I'm excited to see him out there. My prediction is that Ugonna Onyenso leads the entire country in blocks. Now, hear me out. Last season, the dude played like 20 games total. He didn't play a ton. He played less than 20 minutes per game. He played like, I should pull up the stats specifically. I have him over here. Last season at Kentucky, he played 24 games total for an average of 18.6 minutes per game. The Big 12, the best shot blocker in the entire Big 12 conference was Ibrahima Diallo from UCF, who averaged 1.8 blocks per game. Just to put that in perspective, his season-long amount of blocks, it's 57 blocks. He played every game and started a chunk of games for UCF. Our guy Ugana Onyenso, in the 24 games he played and the 18 minutes of the game he played, racked up 66 blocks total. So a guy that wasn't even playing more than half of the entire time led the Big 12 in blocks last year. And he didn't even play. That's the craziest thing. Ugana Onyenso is going to be the best shot blocker in the nation next year. That's not a question, folks. That's the type of dude we can see. A true Oscar Tshiebwe type guy, or a guy that's just known for sending stuff back, going up and rebounding and putting dudes in their place, to say the least. I would not worry about the defense in the paint. I truly think Ugo is going to be legit, and I expect him to have that presence. That's my favorite prediction for the upcoming season. I think all of these are justifiable, and you can make a case for all of them. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or predictions of your own, drop them in the comments. I'm excited to see what you guys have on your plate. And just as a reminder, if you made it this far in the video, be sure and consider to subscribe. I am going to get that tattoo the second we cross that 3,000 threshold. But guys, it's going to do it for me today. I hope you're all doing well. Enjoy your 4th of July. We're coming up here soon. I may be a little bit out of commission. We'll see what that week looks like. But guys, that's going to do it for me. I hope you're all doing well. I will talk to you soon. Go Cats.